career up until this season, which was, and also 16 home runs, is on pace to almost 40 home runs if he's healthy the whole season, which is crazy. So we should probably talk about slugging, which would bring us to Cole Calhoun. Has done way better this season. He's hit, I think he himself too is on pace for at least 30 home runs. I actually didn't check. I didn't check earlier to see how many home runs he has this year, but it's way more than he's ever had before. So search it if you can right now. He's having such a great year this year compared to his other years. His OPS has improved drastically. Well, all of his offensive stats have increased drastically from last year. He was really bad last year. His OPS was a crazy low 650. His on-base percentage was 280. But it's good that the Angels didn't give up on him last year because he now has a 790 OPS and 330 on-base percentage. He's easily one of the better hitters in the league now, having way better of a season this year than last year. So as far as right field, it's an upgrade from last year too. Now in center field, you might know this guy, Mike Trout. He is somehow getting better and better every year. He's leading the AL in home runs with 31, OPS over 1,100, which right now is actually career OPS is at 999, which is about to go up to 1,000. Career OPS over 1,000 over a decade of playing. There's not much to say about him other than we've never seen a better player in his first 8 seasons. We've never seen a better first 8 season by a player in baseball history. I could just talk about him for hours, but we don't really have that time. There's not much else to say other than he's amazing. He's just, I mean, you guys all know how good he is. Well, nobody knows quite how good he is. He's honestly so underrated, but, yeah, let's just move on. There's center field. Mike Trout is somehow doing better this year. He's going to keep getting better every year. So, yeah, center field is somehow an upgrade from last year. So, let's move to left field. Justin Upton. Okay, it's not too much. It's not an upgrade or a downgrade, okay? He's been injured half of this year, which was unfortunate for him. He got injured in spring training. At the end of it, he injured his toe. Right now, he has a 760 OPS and a 340 on base percentage, which is a little under than what he usually does. But he'll definitely get his stats up. And looking at his stats, he's really consistent every year as a really good hitter. And he'll continue to be that way. So, not an upgrade or a downgrade at left field. I mean, obviously, it's the same player who we know is going to do the same things that he done last year. Also, what's an upgrade was not really in the starting lineup, but is Brian Goodwin, who's been a huge sleeper. His on-base percentage is about 340. His OPS is at 780. He's been so productive this year and with the games that he's played, and he easily deserved the starting spot on any team. But unfortunately for him, the Angels just have a great outfield with Trout, Calhoun, and Upton right now, so only gets to play some of the games. He has been starting, though, pretty much almost every game for the first half, though, because Upton's been injured. And he's definitely been shining this first half, at least. He just hit a home run. I think today he had an opposite field 2-run home run. So he did start this game. He's been getting to play a lot. And he'll be probably off the bench most games for the rest of the season. But he is really good. And also, let's quickly talk about, I probably said this before in another podcast, but we're going to talk about this again. We have 4 great outfielders, like I just said, this year. And we're going to be getting an addition of Jo Adell next year, the Angels' top prospect, and MLB top 10 prospect. He looks like he just has such a good future ahead of him. And he's definitely going to be starting next year, which means at the very least, one outfielder will have to go next year. It's going to be Goodwin or Calhoun, obviously. And honestly, I don't know if I were the manager, I don't really know what should be done. But obviously what I do know that Calhoun or Goodwin won't be on the team. At least one of those won't be on the team by next year. And they're both free agents. And I know that both of them will know that they won't be starters if they re-sign with the Angels. Unless Upton gets injured or something like that, or someone gets injured, they'll be off the bench. So I think the Angels will probably be able to re-sign one of them, I think the Angels will re-sign Cole Calhoun. He's having such a good year. It's hard not to re-sign him. And Cole Calhoun seems like he'd be loyal to the Angels because he just has such a big bond with the team. He's pretty much best friends with Trout and all that. I don't see Cole Calhoun leaving the Angels, and I think we could use him off the bench starting next year. Anyway, kind of off topic. Let's get back to the starting lineup and go to catching. Jonathan Lucroy has been the starting catcher all year, but he's out right now because of an injury. We'll talk about the injury later. But he's been out with a concussion. But the time he's been playing, his offensive stats are an upgrade than our catcher last year, Martin Maldonado. Maldonado is, I believe, a bit of a better catcher defensively than Lucroy. They're both really, really good, but Maldonado himself has won Gold Glove last year, actually. Or maybe the year before. I think last year. But Lucroy himself also is a really good defensive catcher. So they're both really good defensively. Maldonado might have an edge, but Lucroy himself is also one of the better defensive catchers. And he's hitting a lot better than Maldonado has for the Angels last season. So this position is probably the only part that could be questionable, whether it's an upgrade or downgrade. Because other than catcher, kind of every other position is an upgrade. Left field the same. But yeah, I think catching this year is an upgrade though because of the backup catchers this year. The backup catchers are Dustin Garneau and Kevin Smith. I really like Kevin Smith. He's been having such a good year. I don't know how he hasn't been playing in more games. His OPS in his 30 games he's played this year is 810, and his on-base percentage is 375. If he can even slightly keep this up, he should be the starting catcher. I'm just not sure if he's that good on defense, though. That's obviously the big problem. And then also Dustin Garneau, he had a home run today, actually. He's doing pretty well hitting, and he's a good defensive catcher, so he's a good backup catcher, too. We kind of had 3 good catchers now, which is crazy, because the backup catcher last year was, Juan Graterol? No, Jose Briseño was the backup catcher last year. He wasn't that bad either, but definitely I don't think he's a big league level caliber player. He's been in AAA all this year, I believe. So the last position on the field is first base. And Albert Pujols has actually been a lot better this year than last year. I kind of have a little bit of respect for him because he definitely has a really good work ethic. He just always wants to get better. Even if he's getting a year older, he's actually gotten a better year this year than that last year. So far in the second half, he's actually been on a tear. He's hitting over 400 average in the second half. His season stats this year, he has an OPS of about 760, which is pretty good. Also to clarify, every time I say a stat, I'm kind of rounding it to the 10th. I'm not saying the exact number. So it's pretty much every time I say it, it's rounded to the 10th. Whatever, that doesn't matter. Anyway, 760 OPS and 310 on base percentage. This is a huge upgrade from last year. Last year he had a 700 OPS and an under 290 on base percentage. So yeah, I just explained kind of every starter this season compared to last season. It's pretty much just all a big upgrade from last season. Let's talk about something that's not an upgrade from last season. Starting pitching. I don't want to talk about this, but I have to. This is going to be fun. Okay, starting pitching has been awful as it's always been. At least, within the last 2-3 years, whatever. Starting pitching is probably the only thing holding this team back from championship contenders. And my GoPro stopped recording again. No, it just randomly beeped. It just beeped for no reason. I'm trying to record this podcast and also put up a video version on YouTube. I think it's going. Yeah, it's going again. Stupid GoPro, they're interrupting the podcast. Anyway, starting pitching. This is the one thing that's kind of been a downgrade this year. Last year's starting pitching was Andrew Heaney, Jaime Barria, Felix Pena, Tyler Skaggs, Garrett Richards, and Nick Tropiano. That was mainly the 6 starters. There are a few other starters that came in and out and did bad. But for the most part, these 6 pitchers were solid. Maybe Nick Tropiano was the only one that wasn't too great, but everyone else is not too bad. Obviously not great, but the starting pitching last year just wasn't that bad. This year, though, goddamn, the Angels picked up Matt Harvey and Trevor Cahill, both paying them at least $10 million or more than $10 million. And both of them are 2 of the 5 worst starting pitchers this season, according to stats. And Matt Harvey's probably the worst pitcher in baseball this season, up until now. He's finally been DFA'd after blowing up his last start. Trevor Cahill has been put into the bullpen after his horrible starts, so he can only come in games that aren't close, so he won't blow any more games. Andrew Heaney hasn't had a good season. He's at an ERA over 5. He actually has a small injury right now with shoulder inflammation, and yeah, he's out for 10 days, something like that. Felix Pena hasn't been quite as good as last year with an ERA of 4.9. We're not going to really get mad at him, though, because he just pitched no-hitter a couple days ago. Not a couple days ago, a couple starts ago. Jaime Barria. Jesus Christ. This guy has been terrible this year. And it's just a weird kind of surprise. He's been up and down this season from AAA. This year he's pitched over 7 ERA over 8 starts. At the contrast of having a great last year. Last year, as his rookie year, he had a 3.41 ERA in 26 games. So I think we all kind of thought he would become a future ace kind of player. I mean, that's just such a good rookie season, and I believed in him so much, and he's just blown up this season. He allowed 8 runs to the Mariners last start, so I don't really know what's going on with him. He's definitely got to figure out what he did last year, So there's pretty much a downgrade in every starting pitcher. Also, obviously, we haven't been really lucky as Tyler Skaggs passed away, which puts us in more need of starting pitching. We're actually in a situation right now which is similar to last season, where we literally don't have enough starting pitching, which is pretty annoying, obviously. It sucks. Dylan Peter was called up to pitch today, and luckily he actually pitched a shutout over 5 innings, which is pretty good. It's a pretty impressive start. Let's see. Hopefully he can pick it up and at least be a decent pitcher, because we definitely need that. We need some pitchers to start up or pick it up or step up if we want any chance in the playoff. Anyway, JC Ramirez, luckily, is coming back soon. He's on a rehab assignment right now. Keelan Middleton, he's in the bullpen. I'm going to talk about the bullpen in a second, but he's going to be back soon. So we definitely need the starting pitching to step it up for sure. Let's move. Actually, we have a few bright spots in pitching. Griffin Canning has been looking really good this year. He's been a top pitching prospect, and he's on his rookie year. He does have a 4.5 ERA, but his whip is exactly 1.18 right now, which is really good. He's just